You are now tuned into The MacGuffins.
This is where the fun begins.
Say hello to my little friend!
It doesn't matter who we are. What matters is our plan.
Well, on that note, how about we go to 2014?
2014. This is where things are gonna start going. 2014 was good, but after 2014, that's when shit starts going downhill.
I think the opposite, to be honest. Not down, but I think from 2014 to 2019, there are some down years, like 2018. I'm looking at right now. 2014 though, I know like a lot of movie buffs really think that this year is one of the best, as you got movies like Whiplash, Birdman, American Sniper, Interstellar. My personal favorite of 2014 would probably be Jake Gyllenhaal's Nightcrawler.
See, I wanted to see that movie.
Dude, you need to see it because it's just another one of those like dark, suspenseful. It's like a drama thriller. It's Jake Gyllenhaal plays a really creepy character. He's another actor who can pretty much do it all and get thrown into like any sort of scenario and absolutely kill it. He gets this career.
He's like a Robert Pattinson, William Dafoe type deal.
Yeah, he like stumbles into this career that's like he's trying to capture scenes of crimes that are like disgusting or like messed up. He's trying to get there with his camcorder and be the first one to record them, and he just gets into a lot of shit. I'm not going to spoil it for anyone, but because I know you guys are trying to watch that soon, but you guys really need to watch that because I think that's one of his best movies. But then of course honorable mentions you have to mention Fury. Fury's awesome.
Yeah, I love Fury.
Shia LaBeouf is the notable acting performance in that movie that I think is fucking awesome. He killed it.
He did.
Of course, Brad Pitt did a great job as well. Fury's one of those war movies that, it feels just real. It doesn't feel like, gimmicky, fake,
Yeah.
I love Fury. And then, of course, you could always say Interstellar because that's regarded as one of the best movies probably of the decade. But why don't one of you guys take it away for the next?
Yeah, so I would put Fury as my first one, and it's like funny that you mentioned it being like realistic because that was like one of my main points of liking it. It felt like if anything, I don't know what it's like to be in war, but I feel like it could be similar to this. Like this is probably the closest we've ever gotten like in a movie type of deal. I mean, there's been some really good ones, but like in a while, we never I always love war movies. There's just something about it. Except I didn't see American Sniper. I should have watched that one. So that one's probably better, but Fury was just really good. Brad Pitt, like you said, he's basically like a Leonardo DiCaprio, like always does a good job most of the time. Sometimes he doesn't, but it's just a really good movie. I watched it just one night just because I think my mom just like put it on or something. And I just walked into like the living room, just watched it, and I was like, damn, that was good. Like I would rewatch that any day of the week. I didn't see Interstellar. Probably should have watched that one. I heard that
Interstellar is amazing. It's great.
Yeah. I don't know what else I would put above Fury though that I've seen.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Damn.
Yeah, that's what sucks. I need to see those again. I mean, there's a Planet of the Apes movie, but I didn't like the Dawn as much as I liked the other two.
Yeah, same. I didn't like Dawn either, so I didn't see that one.
It was good just because I love the Planet of the Apes movies, but like, I think the other two were probably better than it.
Yeah.
Like, I can't really remember specific details. Just like Fury, I can't remember specific details. I'll have to rewatch it to like. But I know it was really good. Shia LaBeouf, like you said, I was gonna say that too. He was like, his character was so believable as like kind of like a little like, not really younger guy, but kind of like in between, like not seasoned veteran, but not like a noob, and he's just like, it was just cool. It was cool seeing him like actually like fit in and do something serious and like not just being Transformers and shit. So
Yeah, exactly.
it was super good movie.
What about you, Doob?
Doob. Well, with that being said, you guys both put Interstellar as honorable mentions, even though Matt didn't see Interstellar.
Yeah, I still know it was. I heard it was good. That's why I even brought it up. Like
My
American
favorite.
Sniper.
Yeah, American Sniper. American Sniper was so good, even though I didn't see it. I know it's good. I want to see it. But my favorite, mm, you guys might not agree, but Godzilla 2014, best movie of the
Godzilla
year, hands
2014.
down.
I need to
One with
remember if I've seen this.
Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston, the boy, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember that.
yeah. I remember when you told me you watched it and we talked about it.
Uh-huh.
And
He was like chubby, the Godzilla.
yeah, dude, I liked it. I've always been a Godzilla fan, and I've always wanted a modern Godzilla American movie, like American Hollywood remake or whatever the hell you want to call it. And I think they fucking knocked it out of the park with this movie. I don't care what you say about Kong Skull Island or King of the Monsters. I think this one was done well because it was put in the perspective of the human characters and multiple human characters, and they made you care about the human characters. It wasn't like the old Godzilla movies where it was like basically an anime, with
Yep.
people in a bunch of suits and stuff.
Yeah,
I like
that's
those
where it started.
movies, but those aren't movies that you take seriously. Those are movies that you watch for a good time. To laugh and cheer and. You like Godzilla. You like Dragon Ball Z. You like Godzilla. It's basically the same thing. But this movie gave a realistic take on what would happen if a monster like that attacked or came out of nowhere, out of the depths of the ocean, because we did those nuclear tests in the 1950s. Like that's the way I took it. I love Godzilla, so I love a new take on the story. I'm not like it wasn't like Star Wars where they try to add in their own shit and it was dumb. Bryan Cranston gave a phenomenal performance, and his son, I don't remember the name of his actor, but he gave a phenomenal performance. He was in the army. All he wanted to do was protect his family, and he wanted his dad to move on from his mother's death, even though he knew all the stuff about Godzilla and the Mutos, and he just couldn't move on, and that was basically his purpose, was to reveal the truth and tell the world about what was actually going on. So yeah, Godzilla, another 9 out of 10 probably for me, and
Wow.
Interstellar, probably another 9 out of 10 too. But I had to say Godzilla.
All right. Well,
Go Godzilla.
on
Oh,
that on that terrible take, why don't we move to 2015? That was planned.
2015.
2015, the worst year for fucking movies, to be
And there's
honest.
a lot of bad ones here, I feel. Like I haven't seen a lot of the good ones. Like
The problem
The
with
Martian.
2015 is that there were a lot of movies that were hyped up from other franchises that weren't good. You got Star Wars came back,
I would love to put that as number one, but it's not even in the running.
Terminator came back, and Jurassic Park all came back in the
Yeah.
same year. Go figure, guys. It's almost like it was planned. But with that being said, I'm gonna kick this one off. I did say that Star Wars: The Force Awakens was my favorite movie of 2015 because of that ending. Han Solo's death, Kylo Ren being as mysterious as he was at the time, Rey, all the theories about Rey's parents and who Snoke was, the possibility of him being Plagueis and all that. At the time, it was so good, and I can go back and rewatch that movie without thinking about the Last Jedi and the Rise of Skywalker, because
Yeah.
at the time it was the perfect setup movie. I can't take that away from J.J. Abrams. It was a great setup for, ultimately something that wasn't good, unfortunately. But, there weren't that many good movies that came out that year besides, probably Terminator Genesis was just honorable mention. The Revenant. The Revenant is what gave Leonardo DiCaprio his Oscar, but I haven't seen it, so I'll leave you guys to talk about that one.
So I probably have like a hot take on what my favorite one of this year was. For honorable mention though, like you just said, I'd probably put The Revenant just because, I don't know. I saw it after he won his Oscar, so I don't know if I went in there biased, like wanting to like it.
Yeah, like this is the good movie, so like it
Yeah,
has to be good.
like watching it, like I don't know if like at some points like I was just like if there was something I didn't like, I don't know if I just kind of like discarded it to the side because I'm thinking like, oh, this movie could do no wrong. He won his Oscar, so that's why I've watched it. I think I've only seen it once. It was a good movie. I liked it. Obviously he kills it like acting wise. But it's not my favorite movie of his or of 2015. But my hot take movie of 2015. It's a movie called True Story with James Franco and Jonah Hill, both playing
Ooh.
serious roles, and that movie's awesome. It's
What?
kind of like a
What is this movie?
it's like a it's
I need to watch this.
I don't think it is A24, but that's what I would compare it to, is like an A24. Like it came out at like a film festival, like indie type movie. It was definitely in the theaters, but it was a big indie movie. But I sound like a hipster, but this movie was super. Like this is where I first saw James Franco and Jonah Hill together. Just these are the guys that make like jokes about farting and pooping and stuff. Like just completely taking on a new role. Like it's about Jonah Hill's a journalist for the New York Times, and he writes a story that wasn't necessarily true. And basically, he loses his job, gets screwed over for it. At the same time, I'm pretty sure he gets like, he gets something else. Oh, he gets like identity theft. It's like he gets his identity stolen. So like basically the same type of thing. Like his world comes crashing down, and then that's when he meets. He hears of James Franco's character, who's a guy who's incarcerated in prison for his family, and in order to revitalize Jonah Hill's career, he basically meets with James Franco every single day and learns the entire story of who the guy is, why he did it. Basically, like trying to get inside his mind, but like tell it from this guy's point of view. And that's ultimately how he gets his reputation back, by telling an awesome story about a murderer who, I mean, it's kind of fucked up, but like it kind of makes you somewhat and like sympathize with James Franco's character, even though he murdered his family, which is messed up. But but the way that the story is told is, I think it's awesome. That's definitely my favorite movie of 2015. What about you, Matt? Greg?
So for 2015, I didn't really see a lot of these movies, like a lot of the big ones, like Revenant. Never saw that. So I was kind of missing out on some of them, even though there weren't as many good ones, like we're saying. But The Avengers was obviously pretty good. I can just talk about the ones that I've seen. I don't know which one I would really put above the others, because all of them were really just kind of average movies. Because that Avengers, like Age of Ultron, is probably like my least favorite of the Avengers, just because it's just like, I don't know. I didn't like Ultron that much. He's just kind of weird. Like, I'd love to say Star Wars, because I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but like, if anything, I would give it that it's probably the one out of the sequel trilogy that I like the most, just because it's the first one, so it can kind of it was a good build up. It just turns out it built up to like nothing, but it was really good the way they set it up and everything. Kylo Ren was pretty good. I just feel like they rushed it too much. They should have just like they should have kept Kylo Ren a little bit more mysterious, probably save some of the stuff for like the second movie. But
Yeah, like
obviously
don't take his mask off in the first movie. Like,
yeah, like
what are you doing?
build the story of Kylo Ren because like we know nothing about him right now. So let's
Make
get
him more human as the movies go along, and not,
yeah.
show us he's human at the beginning or the middle of the first movie.
I feel like Furious 7 was a pretty good movie for the Fast and Furious movies. Like
It
that's
was
when
good. It was great.
I was starting to like those a lot more, and Furious 7 was like it was pretty good.
For that one, I didn't put it. I didn't mention that because for that one I had my expectations lowered because of how much I didn't like Fast Six. I thought Fast Six was so bad
Watch that.
that yeah, Jason Statham's in Fast Seven, but I wasn't gonna
Yeah, like I
too
said,
hyped
dude, the
about
rock
that.
bottom, so good.
The rock bottom though, that was dope.
No, and I was scrolling through the list here. This might be a thing that like nobody else likes, but me being a comedy guy again. Ted
Pixels?
2.
Ted 2.
Ted 2. I love both the Ted
Yeah,
movies.
the 10 movies are
Ted
fun.
2 has a Dodge Dart. I drive a Dodge Dart. That's pretty cool. It's got the chick in there, the lawyer chick. Like it's both the Ted movies are perfectly good. They never get taken seriously just because you can never rate them higher than like serious movies just because serious movies are so good. But I feel like that definitely deserves something because the Ted movies were pretty good at the time. Not a lot of people talk about them too much anymore, but like they weren't bad. They were really funny. Seth MacFarlane, like come on. Super funny dude.
Come on.
Come on.
All
All
right.
right. Well, now that those 5 years are fucking over with, let's get back to the
Ooh.
modern times, right? 2016.
Ooh.
Basically, when shit started to fucking get real,
Dude.
it's when Doctor Strange came out, Deadpool, Batman vs Superman came out, and the fact that that movie was predicted in I Am Legend, and the logo was pretty much the same, and then it ended up being the shittiest movie ever made, almost.
That movie was awful.
That's crazy. That's something to go into the history books. But I thought it was interesting that they were trying to not necessarily continue the Harry Potter franchise, but they gave a different perspective on it with the Fantastic Beasts movie. With I forgot the actor's name, but yeah, Fantastic Beasts. Did you see that one, Anthony?
Of course. I love that movie.
Did you see
I
the
never
second
saw
one?
it.
Was it good?
I haven't seen the second one actually.
And 2016 was a big year because Rogue One came out.
It was.
And
Yep.
that was the first side story Star Wars movie that was to come out, and people were skeptical about it. I was like, "Oh, this isn't the main episode. Is it going to be good?" And then, yet to this day, a lot of people think that that's the best Disney Star Wars movie.
I am one of those people that think that I like it better than all the new movies in the sequel trilogy. That's for sure.
Yep. I would definitely agree with that. Definitely
Really?
the best Star Wars movie.
Even better than Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. Rogue One's sick.
But another honorable mention I want to put out there is, well, there's two more. There's
there's a
Doctor
lot.
Strange. Doctor Strange was
so
good.
good.
It was
so
so
good.
good. And I liked
for a
it
Marvel
not
movie.
because it was a superhero movie or Marvel movie, but because to me it was one of the most realistic perspectives on what would happen to an actual doctor if this had happened to him and he went to go pursue Buddhist monk beliefs and learn some natural ways of healing the body and the mind instead of being a doctor with all the prescription pills and all that stuff. But I'm not going to go into that because I got doctor friends and friends that have doctor families, and that's just a topic for another day. But Finding Dory came out that year too.
Oh,
And I feel like that's a movie that came out and a lot of us overlooked. It wasn't bad. It wasn't amazing, but people wanted a sequel to Finding Nemo for the longest time, and we finally got it.
I never saw that.
You never saw it?
No.
You
It
never
was
saw
okay.
that.
It was just it wasn't really the sequel to Finding Nemo that we wanted because it was mainly focused around Dory, which is a great character. I thought it was good, but I wouldn't. I mean, I feel like Finding Nemo was definitely better.
It was way better.
Obviously, I feel like nobody would say it's better than Finding Nemo. But yeah, I mean that is probably like a little underrated. But it's probably just because Nemo, like the main characters aren't there, you know.
See,
So with that being said, my favorite movie, 2016, Warcraft.
Oh, that's the year it
Warcraft.
came out. I forgot. Ooh,
Warcraft.
wait a
And
minute.
Warcraft, for the sake that, I'm probably going to say that Warcraft was my favorite movie of the decade.
Ooh,
Because I've watched, out of all the movies that came out in the 2010s,
ooh.
Warcraft is the one that I have watched more than any other movie.
Really? What? You've seen that like a lot of times?
I've seen it 20 or more times.
Whoa, wait a minute. Whoa,
Yes.
I never knew this.
There
Wait
were
a minute.
days where I would be in my garage
I
playing
thought-
Hearthstone on my phone, like for hours and I would turn on Warcraft, and as
Yeah.
soon as it ended, I would turn it back to the beginning and watch it over again. My attention wasn't fully on the movie because I was playing Hearthstone, but I have a lot of dialogue memorized. I can quote the movie at this point.
Yeah,
Like
dude.
to me, it's just a good movie, and I really want a sequel to Warcraft. It was a lot better than people think it was. I mean, it
It
was made
was.
it was made for people that play Warcraft, and
But
if you dislike it for it being that, well, that's your
exactly.
problem. You shouldn't go see the movie.
At the same time, there was still some what people don't like. There's still some decent actors in that too. Like I said, like what's his name
Yeah, the
from
guy from Viking.
the
The
guy from
Viking show.
Viking played what's his name, the main human guy. Like he was really he's a super good actor. Like people really like thought that if you've never played any sort of like Warcraft game, you wouldn't have got this movie, but it's not even like that at all. Like it's not you need to just look at it as kind of like Lord of the Rings, just like a fantasy movie, just a miscellaneous fantasy movie. But
Yeah, it's got
a
its
lot of
own
people just missed out on
self-contained
it.
story.
Yeah, and it explains everything pretty much. It explains stuff I didn't even know because it's based before World of Warcraft is even a thing.
Yeah, so we
Based
learn about the
before,
Fel, we learn about the Kirin Tor, we learn about all that stuff that we hear kind of mentioned in the game, but it was more or less established in the previous games that came out, before we were even relevant, before we even thought in our mom's womb or whatever.
yeah, and the orcs probably
It looked so good.
the story revolves around like mainly the orcs, and the orcs have like a really good storyline in like the Warcraft lore.
And that's
Like
the thing is people originally like okay, so the Horde was the bad side and the Alliance was the good side. But you watch this movie and it's like, no, there's no good side, there's no bad side. They're all just people trying to live their
yeah,
lives. And
the orcs get forced out.
and
They
it
have to go to
connects
another
to
planet.
actual history. It connects to American history.
Hmm.
It's literally Native American history. And that's why I like this movie so much because it's one of those movies that has like a message, but you don't really
Yeah.
see it at first unless you're one of those people. If you're seeing Warcraft, you're going to see Warcraft to see Warcraft. It's after you see it the fifth or sixth time where you're like, oh, that director wanted to kind of put that kind of story into this.
I haven't even seen it that many times, but I've seen it a
That's
couple
crazy,
times.
dude.
But it's
Considering you played Warcraft 3.
I know, and I love the
They're
Warcraft
boring.
lore. I like already know the orc lore basically. Like I know the story that they can tell in the sequel, and it could be good. But we saw like Baby Yoda. Okay, what about Baby Thrall, bro? We
Baby
literally
Thrall
saw
could be
Baby
the new
Thrall,
Baby Yoda.
my favorite character of the whole Warcraft universe, and it's like you're not gonna give me him. Like Blizzard literally blue balls me. Like, ugh, sucks.
All right,
Sucks.
so that's enough of Warcraft.
Yeah,
Anthony,
that was surprising.
what was your favorite movie of 2016?
oh man, this is hard because you said a lot of good ones,
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones
and
here.
there's all the ones you said none of them were even on my list. Um, this is hard because, so I'll admit that it took me a while to finally watch it, but I think I told you guys the other night, I've been hearing about how good La La Land is, like for the past 5 years since it came out. I've been, it won. I'm pretty sure it won a few Oscars, won a bunch of stuff, and I read about it and I was like, it's a musical? Like, I don't think I like that kind of stuff. And then I watched it recently and now I understand why people like it. It's like, it's really not as much of a musical as, you would think. There's not many musical scenes, but man, that movie is really good. Just once again, it's Ryan Gosling. I've been on a Ryan Gosling kick recently. Um, it's also what's her name? Emma Stone. Emma Stone
Yeah.
kills it. That movie, if I have to talk about like, cinematography, like I've brought up, like for some of the movies I liked, dude, that movie is just like the way it's shot. I don't know what about it, but it's just like sounds weird, but it's just like when you look at it, it's like aesthetically pleasing. That movie's really good. I don't know if I can put that at number one though, because out of all the MCU movies that um, I've seen every single one, and I'm big into the MCU. But I think that my favorite out of all the MCU movies is Captain America: Civil War, which also
Yes.
came out this year.
Super
So
good.
Captain America: Civil War is up there. That you know, just the fact that you got the Avengers split up and fighting each other, while there's actually also what's his name? What's it? Baron Zemo out there. Um,
Baron Zemo, yeah.
They have literally there's literally an antagonist in the film, but they're too busy fighting each other. It's just like there's a lot going on. It's cool to see one half rebel against like the government, and the other half is just like you know
Well, and it's cool because
the Soviet Accords. They're trying to keep up with it, and then you got the rebellion, which I was for the rebellion side because they're superheroes and
They just want what's right.
they don't need to be controlled by the state or the government. Like they're just trying to do what's right, and what the government wants in this sense was going to limit them from actually being able to save the world. So I like how they brought in a lot of like real life issues rather than just being kind of like out there like other superhero movies do. And then also another movie that I loved. I still haven't seen the sequel yet. Is Split. I loved Split.
oh, is that with the creepy guy?
Yeah, James McAvoy killed it. That was probably like the best performance of
Yeah, I never
2016
watched
I
it.
saw. Glass came out last year, I think, which is like a sequel to it, but also not really. Split is just like you see James McAvoy just I don't know, dude. He's creepy in that movie.
Yeah, because he's the one with multiple personalities, right?
Yeah, that's why it's called Split. 'Cause he's got split
Yeah.
personality
I
disorder.
haven't seen it, but I need to see. I
It's
want to see the whole trilogy.
It's a good movie. I don't think I put that number one though, so it'd probably be between La La Land and Civil War. I'd probably go with Civil War. Honestly.
Mhm.
La La Land's really close. What about you?
There's a bunch like Warcraft. That wasn't even on my list. I completely forgot about that. I'm a huge Warcraft fan. Like that was great. There should be a second one. Like I said, Blue Balls. Like it sucks, but like there were so many good ones. Rogue One, big Star Wars fan. I love that movie. Civil War. I was gonna say that too. You said everything. Like you said, it brings up the real life situations. I like how, like in the other Avengers movie, there's always this rivalry between Tony Stark and I forget Captain America's name, but whatever. There's
Steve
always like
Rogers.
yeah. there's always like there's always like this rivalry between them, right? And now we actually like they're basically like the two people
It
going
finally
at
comes to fruition.
yeah, like we see it actually unfold. And it's like that's pretty cool because it's like they weren't just hating on each other just for like comic relief. Like they were building hatred for each other almost.
Yeah,
And
I agree with
we
that.
finally saw it happen. And it's like that's what a civil war really is, right? It's when two people it just builds and builds and builds until they're like fuck you, and then that's how the whole movie kind of unfolded was
Mhm.
pretty from that. So yeah, that was super good. I like. Nobody brought it up. I like, the comedy thing. There was 2 good comedies, right? Sausage Party, that was super good.
Yeah, Sausage Party was hilarious.
And Deadpool.
Deadpool was great
was
too.
good because I wouldn't even classify that as a comedy movie because it's structured more just like a superhero action movie. It's just that Deadpool was obviously always like a comic thing. So it just has these natural comedy moments. But it's still very much like any sort of like action movie you would watch. It's just there's a lot more like humor to it.
I really hope that they figure out a way to bring him into the MCU because that would be sick. But also, I understand why they're, with Fox and also with the fact that his movies are rated R, and so like they'd have to like probably make them PG-13. Being under Disney now, it's like,
I didn't even think about that.
complicated, but like he needs to be in the MCU because Deadpool's awesome. I didn't even think about that.
I'd probably put that as my number 1. I don't know. Doctor Strange was really good too. I like Jungle Book. I wouldn't put that as my number 1. It probably wouldn't even be in like my top 5. But like a lot of people didn't like that one, and I kind of liked the twist on it.
I like that live action one.
Yeah, because I liked. That was always one of my like favorite movies as like a kid. I still have the Jungle Book like at my dad's house probably, and I don't know. Even though they like changed the whole story, I like the whole fire thing. Where it's like that wasn't even a thing before, but now it's like coming out, and it's like it actually makes sense because that's kind of what sparked us from evolving quicker than most other like species, just because we can create fire, and that allowed us to do so many things. And it's like the animals know that, so they're trying to like do that before the humans get too smart. So that was pretty cool. But like at the same time, I get it. People are like, "Oh, this wasn't like the original." For some reason, the orangutan is like the biggest monkey in the world. Like, what's up with that? But I don't know. Christopher Walken, that was kind of funny.
I love Christopher Walken.
I'd still put Deadpool as my number 1 though. I think because it's like my favorite superhero movie too. Because it's so good. What's his name? The main guy. I'm forgetting his name right now. Everybody talks about him. He's all
Mowgli?
No, Deadpool.
Oh, Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah. I mean, it's like he's literally like Deadpool. Like like who else?
He is Deadpool. Every role he plays is Deadpool.
Yeah, every role he plays now is Deadpool, basically.
That's actually how he is in real life.
Anthony even can confirm that because he watched Six Underground like a week ago.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
He was literally Deadpool with the mask in 600.
Yeah, it's so good. Like he just does such a good job. Like I love that movie. The second one was good too, but not as good as the first one. I feel Deadpool. It was probably my favorite of that whole year. But so many others are like so close. Like they'd all get 9s. Like Civil War, obviously, it was.
See, the thing about 2016 I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the fact that there's not a lot of movies that came out, but the ones that did come out and the ones that were good were
X-Men Apocalypse wasn't bad.
I'll disagree with that, but but the fact that the ones that we've been able to talk about for so long has to show people that these movies are worth talking about, because Deadpool was like the first R-rated superhero movie anyone has ever seen. It's leading into movies like Joker and New Mutants, probably. Like all these new avenues are opening up for superheroes, and like The Boys completely like built their foundation upon what Deadpool was. The gore, the action, the drama, because Deadpool has that comedy, but it also has that serious plot, like
it's more a serious movie than a comedy movie.
Yeah, he's dead, everything he loves is dead, basically.
He's dead.
I'm surprised no one chose Suicide Squad as their best movie.
I couldn't even finish that the first time I watched it.
No, we're all in agreement that was right.
We're worse than Batman vs Superman. Can we agree?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.